Guys, I've just checked all of my footage, and even though the microphone was hooked up, it just wasn't working apparently. You can barely hear my voice. So in the video you're about to watch, it'll look like I'm talking to myself, but I was actually talking to you. But I'm still going to do a voiceover so you understand what I'm doing. Thank you so much once again for watching, and I'll see you later. The first thing I'm going to do is take my beautiful boiled egg and dip it into the Nivea Men Sensitive Post Shave Balm. I use this as a primer, and I'm just doing the same routine as usual, dragging it all over my skin and then buffing it in. I can never tell if primers work on me. It doesn't really affect my foundation in any way. I just like to put it on for the sake of it because it seems like everybody has a primer these days. I'm then taking my foundation, which is the Loréal Paris Infallable 24-Hour Matte Foundation in the shade Natural Rose, and just buffing that into the skin with the egg. The foundation was absolutely disgusting. I don't know if you can see it on camera, but it made my pores absolutely huge. It was quite easy to blend, but because the egg was quite warm and still quite wet, it just made it such a strange consistency, and it just did not sit on my skin properly. I then used a wet wipe to clean my eyebrows and clean my lips, just where there was foundation sitting on there that made me look like an ashy grandma. I then took my concealer, which is the Collection Lasting Perfection Concealer in the shade Fair. This was just going on the high points of my face, like under my eyes, on the centre of my forehead, down the bridge of my nose and on my chin. Because this is quite a thick concealer, it actually worked really well. I don't know whether the egg dried, but it blended out quite well under my eyes. I'm just buffing that into my skin and on the bridge of my nose, and you can just see there the egg's falling apart completely. I'm then going into my powder, which is just a normal pressed powder, and it really just congealed with the amount of wet foundation and wet concealer on my face, but I just pressed it in as hard as I could to try and set everything. Now for contouring, I'm taking my Soleil bronzer in deep bronze and just putting this on to shape my face on my forehead and under my cheekbones and along the bridge of my nose. It went so patchy, it's unreal, and it went on so dark as well, and it took like a solid 10 minutes of blending to try and make this even look slightly presentable. So I'm just going under my cheekbones with that, and I was actually quite impressed how well it worked on the cheekbones. It blended out really well. I don't know whether the powder managed to settle there a little bit better, which made blending easier, but even though it wasn't completely symmetrical and as nice as I wanted it to be, it was probably still the best part of the contouring so far. Now I'm just breaking the egg in half because I needed like a smaller surface area to try and contour my nose with, but it just was not happening. There was like a tiny bit of definition, but not much at all. I can honestly say Michael Finch managed to do such a better job. I don't know how he did it, but he was the inspiration behind this video anyway, so well done to him. I actually took a smaller piece of egg and then used the flat side of that to try and chisel my nose, and that worked so much better. I then took a cream highlighter, which I actually made myself, which was a mixture of concealer, an iridescent white pearly eyeshadow and moisturiser mixed all together, and put that on the high points of my face. Now for eyebrows, which is something I never usually do, I took a dark shadow from the MUA 12th Night Winter Shades palette and used a small piece of egg to try and fill them in. I was actually quite impressed with how this part went. I don't know why, but for some reason it just wanted to work with me. But then again, maybe everything else was just so shit that this is the only part that looks half decent. I then took the W7 Angel Eyes palette and used the Cool Tone Dark Brown shadow to try and give some definition in my eye crease. The eyeshadow was just not blending very well at all. I don't know what I expected, and I'm not a professional eyeshadow anyway, it's something that I've got limited skill in. Now for on top of my actual eyelid, I went back to that MUA 12th Night Winter Shades palette, and I took a dark copper gold and put it all over the top of my eyelid. I then took some black eyeshadow and put that on the outer third of my crease. Just trying to blend it in seamlessly with the gold and the brown above it. The egg actually went against me though. I was trying to blend it all flawlessly together, which obviously was never going to happen, but now I just look like a crazy raccoon with smudged shitty eyeshadow. I then took my MUA Under Your Skin pressed highlighter in the shade Iridescent Gold and put that in the inner corners of my eyes. For mascara, I just simply put it on my hand, dipped the egg into it and then rolled it on top of my lashes. It kind of did the job, like it's not ever going to be spectacular, but it added a little bit of volume and colour. And then for lips, I took my Makeup Gallery Cherry Pop Red Lip Gloss, put it on top of my hand, and then dipped the egg into it. It didn't really take to the egg that well, but whatever did take to my lips, I just smudged together. And then after adding some highlighter to my lips off camera, that's the finished look.